Well, the socialist jackasses at the Federal Reserve and the Department of the Treasury have a new brilliant idea. 800 billion more to be added to the bailouts. Oh, well, we're just going to give that money to banks. It won't be hyperinflation. Listen, geniuses, if you give it to the banks and they loan it out, all that money is now debt, because all 800 billion, once it's loaned out, means it has to be repaid back. 800 billion plus whatever the interest is, which is actually going to tighten the money supply at a time when it's already at its lowest. People don't have any money. More than likely, people are just going to borrow new money to pay back money they already owe. And when you pay back loan number 1 with loan number 2, that's just a Ponzi scheme, and it just makes the bubble that much bigger. If the initial $1.2 trillion that's been promised so far in bailouts to Wall Street were to come in the form of a tax cut to Main Street, it would be $4,827 a person. That's every person in America, including children and babies. A family of 4 would get over $17,000. Imagine that. That would be mortgage payments being made. That would be down payments placed on cars and spending. But no! What are we doing? They're bailing out themselves and tightening the money supply. Main Street is getting screwed, and the dollar is going to drop like a rock. The money's been promised so far, but it hasn't been processed. As soon as that money is released, you can kiss the dollar goodbye. Welcome to the USSA. You know, Henry Ford figured out a long time ago if he paid his workers well, not only would he get good workers, but they'd be able to afford the cars that they're making, and they'd be able to buy them. But what do we do now? We ship manufacturing jobs overseas to communist China, where people are paid little to nothing, and the parts that are stamped and pressed are made by mere slave labor, so those people can't afford to buy the cars. Our people can't afford to buy the cars. And the auto industry scratches its head at why they're billions in the red. Nobody can buy it. People don't have any money, geniuses, and even when they're willing to work for it, the employers can't pay them, and the employers can't sell enough things to get enough capital to pay them, because people aren't buying things, because people don't have any money, because people owe money to the banks, because they overborrowed and the banks lent money out, and insurance rates went up, and all the mess of the bubble from the subprime affected even the responsible people. Because if our employer goes in debt, he starts laying people off, even if they didn't borrow a dime and didn't do anything wrong. It's a spiraling effect. What we need is a tax cut, and what we need to pay for that tax cut is to cut spending, which means we have to end the war in Iraq, we have to end the war in Afghanistan, and stop spending trillions of dollars to go murder people around the world who are no threat to the U.S. whatsoever. Stop sending billions of dollars to Israel. Stop sending billions of dollars to Pakistan and Egypt. Stop all this foreign aid, all this foreign intervention. Take that money home. It's our money that you're using. It's our income tax that you're using to pay the debt to the Federal Reserve. Kill the Fed. Keep our money home. Give it back to the American people in the form of a tax cut. That will allow them to pay their debts. That's what will save the banks. We don't need to go to the printing presses. We don't need hyperinflation. We don't need a bailout. These guys at the Fed, Paulson, and the rest of them from the Treasury need to be kicked in the nuts. These guys in the Fed and Paulson and the rest of them in the Treasury need to be kicked in the nuts and thrown in jail for treason and economic terrorism. End the income tax. Let people keep their own money, and end the empire. Let the banks fail who screwed up, the credit default swaps, all the people who have been wrong for week upon week upon week upon years need to fail. Let the competent people take over from the incompetent. Kill the Federal Reserve, go back to a gold standard or silver standard or some combination. You have to end this endless fractional reserve banking scheme, throw these people in jail, and take our country back. No more wars for Israel, no more wars for the military-industrial complex. Americans need to educate our other fellow Americans. Give them films like Money Masters. Give them films about the fiat money system. You can go right here to rise2cents.com/hub and watch a couple films for free. Get this out. send it to Congress, send links to Congress, get it to everyone you know. Killing the Fed is a meta issue. It's the second most important thing we can do. Number one, of course, is to break the monopoly on mass media. Because it's not that Americans are stupid, it's that they're uninformed. If they sit there and watch the boob tube all day, they don't get any real information. You watch Fast Money on CNBC and you just got a bunch of jerk-offs at a table screaming at each other. They literally can't talk. They just scream the whole time back and forth with one another, talking about a lot of nonsense. They're wrong all the time. They don't even understand the system. They never talk about the Fed being a private, secretive organization. They just let it be a mystery. What's the Fed gonna do? They know what's going on. They know how to make money themselves. They do a lot of bait and switching, but they won't tell you that. Don't listen to these stupid talking heads. Just cut it off. Cut off the TV. Stop watching mass media. Not only can you support alternative media, you have to stop watching mass media. It's garbage. It's garbage on economics, it's garbage on foreign policy, and it's garbage on domestic policy. Just turn it off. And don't put all your eggs into one basket hoping Obama's going to do something, because he's not going to change a thing. The solution's rather easy. Let banks fail. Step one is not to spend $1 trillion overseas maintaining an empire. That means no more Iraq War, no more Afghan War, and no more bases in places like Germany and Japan. Complete waste of money. Cut government spending before you tax a dime or print a dime. Step two, no bailouts. Let them fail. All that's going to do is lead to hyperinflation. Nothing good is going to come of the dollar. When you add 1.2 trillion, possibly 2 trillion now in money, as new money into the money supply, it's hyperinflation. Step 3, actually make stuff and sell it. That means keeping manufacturing jobs here. You'll actually sell more that way and raise the standard of living here. Step 4, let Wall Street fail and let the new guys who didn't screw up come in and take over. Step 5, tax cut. Get rid of the income tax and let people keep their own money. The government doesn't solve debt, it creates it. So take money away from the government and have it in its empire. No empire, no debt. Step 6, kill the Federal Reserve. Throw those people in jail for treason and economic terrorism.